And here's the kind of fundamental down and dirty definition of what counts as wisdom. Understanding that the way that things appear are not the way they are. Understanding that. Understanding that we are deluded by appearances. And it doesn't seem that way, you see. We're living in appearances and being taken in by them. So it doesn't appear that we're deluded by them, because we're deluded. If we knew that we were deluded by appearances, what? Wouldn't be deluded, right? So it's kind of like, you know, the reason to study and yogify, discipline ourselves in wisdom, is to wake up. Is to wake up out of the dream life that we're leading. And we are leading a dream life. It's just like in the Matrix. You all saw the Matrix, right? I mean, we should be so lucky as to have a computer that starts talking to us and say, wake up, Neil. See, wake up, time to wake up. Because you're living in a dream. We're living in a kind of a dream life. Let's check, okay? When you have, let's imagine that you have an irritating person in your life. This will stand for the irritating person, okay? And when you meet your irritating person, do you see them as essentially irritating? As irritating from their side, as objectively irritating, and your response is simply to an objective phenomenon? Yes or no? Do you see it that way? That is not it is impossible that irritating person exists that way. Complete illusion. That the irritating person exists as an irritating person from their own side. What's the proof of that? Not everyone sees them that way. First of all, you do not uniquely have an objective irritating person, on that seemingly irritating person. There are other people who would see that person as a friend, as a father, as a mother, as a brother, as a son, as a daughter, right? And would have a very different understanding of them. Are all of them wrong and you right? And you know, we all in our head goes, yes, I am. I'm not going to probably say that because I don't want to have people laugh at me. But actually, I believe that. And all of us do believe it. When we're talking about our irritating people, not somebody else's irritating people. When you're talking about your irritating person, it does appear that as if they are essentially irritating, have an essence of being irritating. And that's impossible. They cannot exist that way. So we're fooled by appearances all the time, all day long, fooled by the appearances of things. And here's another way, in general, to talk about that. We think that the world is coming at us, that we're just walking through like some big Hollywood set that somebody has already constructed, right? And they constructed it, and then they waited for us to get there. And then we got out of the car and walked through the set, you see, right? The set of our lives. And that's sure how it appears, isn't it? It appears as if things are coming at us, as if they are out there, on their own, independently existing out there. That's what they say. Independently existing means apart from my perception of them. They exist out there, apart from my perception of them. For who? For me, right? That's 180 degrees wrong. Complete illusion. Complete illusion. So, I mean, let's not even go there so far. Let's not even go there. How the hell would you ever know that an objectively existing world exists apart from your subjective opinion of it? How could you ever know that? You see? So you start there. Maybe we'll start there. We'll just kind of start with honesty and just say, what honestly can I say about the world around me that isn't filtered through my subjective apparatus? What do I actually know about the world around me that isn't a subjective perspective on the world around me? And there's nothing, okay? There's nothing. You can't get out of your own head. Have you noticed that? I mean, we all think that we're out of our own heads somehow. No, we don't actually think we're out of our own heads. We think that we're all God. Each one of us thinks that we uniquely are God, and everyone else is schmuck, and we're God. Because we see the world correctly, we see the world objectively, and anyone who doesn't agree with us and doesn't see the world that we do is wrong, right? That's kind of like what we really do. So we can just kind of like start by being honest with ourselves and understand that the first level of wisdom, the first step along the way of wisdom is recognizing what we don't know, recognizing what we can't know. See? Recognizing what we can't know. And we can't know anything that isn't filtered through our subjectivity. Yes or no? Can we know something that isn't filtered through our subjectivity? What about what other people say? We can know what other people say, right? So if other people all agree with us, see, sometimes we get really stoked because then we say, you know, it's not just me who finds that person irritating. I have 3 friends of mine who also find them very, very irritating. So there's like a whole groundswell of opinion now going on. It's like, you know, sweeping, you know, LA, right? And then we get really, really, you know, excited about that when other people agree with us. Who's perceiving that other people agree with us? See, do other people agree with us, or do we just have the perception of other people agreeing with us? See, be honest now. Start with being honest and start realizing you are trapped inside your own head. We are all trapped inside of our own heads. And the only world that we know is the world that's being filtered through our subjective apparatus. Yes or no? Is there someone in this room who somehow has escaped their subjective apparatus and sees the world objectively? So, if that's the beginning point of wisdom, see, then the next step would be, well, how come I'm filtering the world through the subjective apparatus the way I do? Why do I see the world the way I do, and other people seem to see the world differently than me? Which is, of course, also filtered through my subjective apparatus, right? I have the subjective apparatus, your subjective opinion that other people seem to see the world differently than I do. Sometimes they seem to agree with me, but sometimes they seem to see it differently. Okay? How come each of us have the subjective apparatus that we do? What forces us to interpret, you could say, the world the way we do when other people interpret the world, seem to interpret the world differently? And this is what we call karma. Karma is because how we have treated others in the past, not to find a point on it. If we've treated other people nicely in the past, we will interpret the world one way, positive way, nice way. We'll see the world happy place, a happy place to be. And if we treated other people poorly in the past, we will see the world as awful, as a bummer, okay? And we all have mixed karma, in case you hadn't noticed. We have mixed karma. People in this room have mixed karma. Nobody in this room is having 100% bad life. There are people who seem to have pretty much of 100% bad life, human beings, like, you know, just like you. But you're not one of them. So, you know, you've got mixed karma. We all have mixed karma. But that's why we see the world the way we do, is because how we've treated others in the past. So we'll just take it one more step. If you're following me, nobody's going like this yet, okay, which is good. The next step is, well, if that's the case, then if I learned how to treat other people better, what would happen to my subjective apparatus? And then what would happen to the world? Or you could say, my perception of the world, which is the only world that you know, the only world knowable by you. See, the only world there is, I'll just put it, you know, harder. The only world there is the world that's being filtered through your subjective apparatus. And if you change your subjective apparatus, you would see the world differently. And if you learned how to change the subjective apparatus by learning the rules of karma, for example, you would change the world. Literally change the world. Literally change the world, okay? Not change my interpretation of the world, but change the world as it exists for you, which is only filtered through, the only way it's ever existed for you, right? Filtered through your subjective apparatus. So that's the purpose of religious life, right there. Boom. Okay? In a LA minute.